Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. First of all, keep in mind there are various forms of intelligence. Book smarts aren't the only form. And I'm not racist. The word intelligence is a play on words for intel-I genes, where the C has an S sound, right? Because the C can sound like an S, like in the word nice. So, you see the people on the screen, right? This video is not about being racist toward white people. There are white people in my family who are very nice people, what have you, who, they look like they're on the spectrum of autism or something. And that is very common for white people. And so a lot of this has to do with genes and intelligence. Obviously, the vast majority of people would agree with me that being a martial artist who's very insightful and sharp is much wiser, much smarter, much better for life intelligence, reflects much better genes than being a mere scientist like Einstein, right? Some people might have to think about first, but the vast majority of people would agree. It's simply true. And African genes are dominant. White people by racist blacks have been referred to as quote-unquote recessives. And that is to throw fuel on the fire to create more racial strife and to get, white people to be like, whites and Jews and LGBT to be like, oh, that's what they think, then we're going to do this, and so on and so forth. Okay. So you see that there's a spectrum, right? That's why it's called autism spectrum disorder and Down syndrome, choosing down instead of up and out and walking the straight and narrow. And you see that on the screen, you see various examples and one cartoon idea with Lex Luthor of variations of white gene expression. And Jews have a very similar form, quite often maybe a little bit more jackal look, a little bit more silly looking at times, a little bit more awkward looking. What exactly is a Jew and what exactly is a white person is very confusing. And again, it's not about making fun of people. It's just, get this video done with so that this is out there and people understand how this relates to all these murders here. I can't warn people enough about trying to cater to people who have complexes. That is not the answer. All throughout history, people try to do that. Didn't stop World War I from happening. Didn't stop World War II. Hasn't stopped them from starving 9 million people to death every year. The answer is to confront them about this, to be honest about it, the way, the truth, and the life. Okay? Stop being their sex slaves. Stop catering to them. Stop being afraid of these people. It's fucking pathetic. Anyway. So, when you look at the situation, you know that there's a bunch of intelligence agencies that work together to maintain conceptions of human worth and intelligence and dating appeal. Who's it smart to date? What's smart to do? What lifestyle is smart to have? And that's what almost all intelligence activities are about first and foremost. Okay, a nation represents like a cultural center on the global stage for global governing class organizations, groups, families, cults, secret societies, gentlemen's clubs, social clubs, what have you. That's what it represents. So they don't necessarily care about any one nation, as I'm sure you've seen in the timeline of history, in modern history, right? They care about trying to get people to look up to people a certain way. That's part of what Satanism is about, right? False idols, statues, Greco-Roman statues, Middle Eastern statues, Mesopotamian statues, Egyptian, Persian, Babylonian, what have you, Indian. And how these cults connect together, not just through Alexander the Great pushing his cults into India, but there's other ways as well. So take the time to really think about what that means and to really think about how there's people who try to look more, I almost forgot, right? A huge part of it is the guys who look more like the guy who looks like the most attractive guy on the screen. Obviously, I'm not gay, but you can tell the difference between someone who looks very strange and someone who looks more normal, and how females tend to be more attracted to the guy who looks more normal. That's part of why they're even changing the way I look these days. They've changed the way my brothers look to some degree. They changed the way that my father, my mother look. Okay, and it is a big deal, but it's not something that someone should lie about. If that wasn't the case, okay, then I wouldn't say that. Once you're the top martial artist ever and the son of God, it doesn't matter how you look. Women should prefer you, and if they don't, they have zero worth. Zip, zelch, none. Just fucking pathetic. Just some kind of gold-digging slut sucking off George Soros or something. Just disgusting. Just a Keith Rainier worshipping whore. Just fucking retarded. Some kind of groupie, some kind of shallow dime a dozen. That's why they're called sheeple, right? They put the she in sheeple. And again, The idea of a noble woman I can respect. Respect is earned. The idea of a dumb bitch who would fucking betray Jesus for the governing class is revolting to me, and I'll never respect it. And I sure as hell won't lie about things, okay? And I sure as hell won't lie about things for that purpose. You know, I've made over 16,000 videos with only minor mistakes, and I've basically corrected them all. I have no reason to lie. Everything I've ever done was for virtuous reasons, including giving my rightful place, beyond a reasonable doubt, no viable counter-argument all these years later. I have a song where I'm 16 years old where I say, they want a ball and ignore the deeper call. Now again, this video is not about insulting white people for no reason or something. It is about clarifying what the fuck is going on and why weirdos are killing people and why Prince Humperdinck types, arrogant white guys who try to look better than others, not necessarily the guy on the screen for the purpose of the YouTube rules, okay? How they're trying to capitalize on it. Though that guy's look is a great point of reference for privileged white guys trying to capitalize on the situation. And to some degree, he seems like a nice guy, polite guy, but that doesn't change the dynamic here in society and the fact that the truth should be told immediately. People. Okay, keep in mind they often edit people's pictures to make it harder for people to see my point. And obviously what they're doing is unbelievably retarded. It shows that they're raised poorly, that they're cultivating poor genes, and it's the governing class failing more than everyone else, first and foremost as usual.